Our next presentation is Reinvent ROI of the New Insights and Analytics Leaders. Our presenters are Jayne Hickey, Senior Manager, Global Insights, PepsiCo Global Beverages, and Jacky Parsons, Research Director, Sense Worldwide. Help me give them a warm welcome.
Good morning. I'm Jayne. I'm with Jacky, and we're meant to talk to you today a little bit about insight leadership with respect to the creative development process. In order to sort of set the stage a little bit, and given the fact that this conference is all about rethinking and reimagining, I'm going to put forth a few scenarios that I'd like you to imagine. First being, you're working at a brand, and you're working at a brand with an agency who really, really, truly wants to hear what consumers have to think and say about their early stage creative work. Or your marketing director invites consumers in to participate in their brand planning sessions. Or even this one, senior executives at your company actually clear their calendars to come and hear you speak about your latest research methodology. Sounds a bit far-fetched, I know, and I probably wouldn't have believed those scenarios myself had we not actually experienced them over the past year or so. In order to sort of explain how these unlikely scenarios came about, I have to go back just a little bit to when Pepsi recently launched its new global positioning, Live for Now. And so we went out and we sort of declared our belief that, you know, life is way too exciting to live on autopilot. And you have to jump in and experience everything the world has to offer and really make the most of every moment. So we went out, we sort of held up this beacon to attract like-minded people. And we were at the stage of the creative development process where then, you know, we have the attention of these people who are interested in our beliefs and what we sort of stand for as a brand. But now we had to really develop a program to engage these people on a much deeper level. And that's sort of where we went out and briefed the creatives about what we were really trying to do. And I said, hang on a second. We're trying to engage consumers on a really emotional level. That feels like what Insights is all about. And I asked the question, you know, how can insights, consumer insights, play a more meaningful role throughout the creative development process, rather than really where we typically play is at the end of it in more of this validation type role? How can we get involved earlier on in that moment of inspiration? And the answer was that we really had to completely rethink the way that we engage our organization and our agency partners with consumers. How are we going to create those connections? How are we going to make those touch points? So I began to think, and I knew I needed to do something very different. I had to do something bold. I needed some sort of an approach to go and speak to my marketing counterparts, to go and speak to my design and innovation counterparts, and really get them to reappraise and rethink the value of consumers in their work, and really not think of consumers sort of as this gauntlet that they have to pass at the end of creative development, but more about a source of inspiration. So I had some ideas, but I didn't have the answers, and that's when I reached out to my good friend Jacky at Sense Worldwide. I told her my ambitions of rethinking the creative development process at PepsiCo, and together we came up with what's now known as the Now Network. And Jacky's going to tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you. So on Monday, we heard from Keith Weed, who encouraged us to stop marketing at people and start marketing with people. And as researchers, I believe that we should stop treating people as research subjects and start engaging with them as human beings. And that is really what the Now Network is all about. It's about engaging with and learning from a bunch of really smart, really creative young people around the world, and with their input, getting a smoother ride through the creative development process, whether that is ultimately about creating advertising or new products or new activations or new business ideas. So who's on this network? Well, it's just 50 people. It's about quality. It's not a numbers game. And they are handpicked. We go and search them out, mostly using social media, to identify people who share this now mindset, who are really spontaneous, who grab life by the horns, who are highly creative, and we look for evidence of that on digital and social media. And then we invite them to join the network. And the attraction for them is the opportunity to be connected to other really creative young people doing amazing things across the globe, and also to have the chance to influence and shape the future of a global brand. And those two motivations are incredibly powerful for them. So people on the network include, there's some examples up here, AC, who's a costume designer just down here on Broadway, Freya, who's a fashion blogger in London, and Dima, who's an artist in Beirut. So a really diverse and wonderful group of people. How do we engage with them? Well, they're very dispersed across the globe, so as you might imagine, being a digital generation as well, much of our engagement is online. We set them creative challenges, we immerse ourselves in their lives, and how those play out and how they share them on social media. But the face-to-face component is so important, and I cannot overemphasize that. So we engage with them in multiple ways. We've invited them to the global marketing forums that Pepsi holds on a regular basis in different cities across the globe. They sit down with the most senior leaders in Pepsi and the most senior marketers. They debate with them, they challenge them, they bring a real breath of fresh air to those meetings. And when we go to their cities, we hang out with them and we hear from them. We take a completely open approach to learning about their lives and building relationship with them. And that, at the end of the day, is what it is really all about. It's about building relationships. It's about building empathy so that a successful corporate marketer based in the suburbs, probably with a family, in his 40s or her 40s, can connect with a young, creative, entrepreneurial 20-something living a very different lifestyle in San Francisco, Sao Paulo, or Shanghai. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you today, just to give you a flavor of the kind of inputs they give us, is a short clip of a film that they made, the network made for us, that was used to help bring the Pepsi brand manifesto to life internally.
So if you're not awake yet, that last scream might have done the trick. We're running a little low on time, so I just want to quickly share a few, 3 to be exact, key things that we learned in going through this process of introducing a new kind of methodology into PepsiCo and into the creative development process. And some of the things we learned about insight leadership is that when designing an approach, you really have to think through how is this going to facilitate a deeper connection between insight and the business? Are there certain things you can design that will actually force those interactions? For us, this really played a key role in every part of the process for planning the Now Network, from recruiting to duration of the community itself, to the way that we interacted with the consumers, the way that we shared out results. This was a really key point in the success of the Now Network. Also, I think as insight leaders, we need to develop proactive consumer-led agendas, meaning that, and the beautiful thing about the network is that, and about Sense's philosophy just to engaging with consumers, is that you really need to put the consumer at the center of everything that you do, even over the brand in some cases, because by doing so, you get this deep, deep understanding of your target audience. You know things about them, their beliefs, their hopes, their dreams, and where they're heading in life. so that you can actually answer questions for the business before they're even asked. And lastly, I think that as insight leaders, we really need to enable the business to take creative leaps. Oftentimes, we can sort of be seen as risk management type of work, but I think that it's the flip side of that. You actually are enabling creative leaps. And by speaking to these leading edge millennials, we're actually giving the business a peek into the future of where the mainstream will be, so that we could help them take some risk. And an example of this on the screen that you'll see is as part of the Art of Football campaign, Pepsi actually launched a first ever Live for Now capsule collection that was available in over 750 retail stores. And that's an example of something that maybe we wouldn't have done if we didn't have the confidence of all of these people sort of pushing us in that direction. So our message to you, wrapping up, you know, this wasn't necessarily an easy thing to do, selling this new approach into the business. In fact, it took us 18 months to do so, but it was well worth it, because not only has it helped us and continues to help us against our business objectives of really getting to viscerally know the consumer and express what Live for Now means in the lives of our target audience, but it's also helped to elevate the role of consumer insights within our organization. And it's also put the consumer at the heart of all of our decision making. So for us at Pepsi, the lever has been and continues to be the Now Network. But I would encourage all of you to think about what are some of those creative and fun new approaches that you can implement in your business to sort of bring insights out from the back rooms and behind the two-way mirrors and into these creative ideation sessions and into the entire creative development process in a more meaningful way. Thank you.